My name is Aatman Desai. I make videos. I make comedy videos on Instagram specifically, and Snapchat and YouTube. And today I'm going to talk about content creation. There you go. That is basically all that I do. I travel, I make comedy videos, I make sports commentary videos, I make a lot of Gujju videos. A character called Gujju Boy is what actually made me start content creation full time. And I'm going to jump in and tell you guys how the world of content creation works and how I started, what was my journey like. Starting from school, I have always been a very funny person, I would like to believe. But also with that, I used to be very studious. I used to wear thick glasses, trousers up here to my chest. And I always thought the only aim of my life was to do something in either MBBS, doctor or something, or be an engineer. Those were the only two options that I had. So I worked hard, I studied, till a day I decided that I don't want to study. And that was back in 10th grade, after which I had to make a choice of opting for science or commerce. And I opted for science because the studious kid inside me did not let me not opt for science. And I opted for maths. I had an option of going for bio also, but I was talking to these guys backstage. You guys have to study a lot. So I'm glad I did not do biology because that's not a personal forte. And taking mathematics, I was very curious on doing the job completely, so I also joined IIT JEE classes called FITG. I did 5 years of FITG, 2 years of physics, chemistry, maths, to sit in the FITG exam, JEE exam. And out of 360, I scored 60. So there were three partitions in the exam. There was physics, chemistry, and maths. Chemistry and maths were still, total came to 62, and physics I got a -2. So there's a negative marking for wrong answers, so I got a -2. So I was just calculating the other day. I had 2 hours of physics classes twice a week. That is 4 hours every week. I did that for 5 years, which is 52 weeks we have in a year, which is 52 times 4, 208, times 5, which is over 1,000 hours of physics. If I would have bunked, I would have scored 2 extra marks. But yeah, that's all in the past. And I obviously did not get into a great college because of the score. But again, the studious child in me did not want to settle for some mechanical or civil or something. I wanted to go for computer engineering because that is what the future holds, I thought. So I had to ask around कि भाई कौन सी कॉलेज में मिल जाएगा computers, कौन से में मिलेगा, कहीं मिल ही नहीं रहा था. फिर in the end मिल गया. And फिर first year में मुझे realize हुआ कि this is also not something that I want to do. And I was about to quit in the second year. That is when I started shifting towards the creative side of things. I started taking part in music, in theaters, in youth festivals. And that is how I went on and on with college for the next 3 years, a total of 4 years. I scored a good enough score of 7.8 CGPA without failing. I only got one retest because of my attendance, which was around 25% or something. I'm not trying to influence you guys at all here. I'm just telling my experience. Yeah, after that, I somehow managed, completed engineering. But the only thing I was clear now was that I do not want to do anything in engineering. I do not want to do a job. I do not want to work in computers because मुझे नहीं आता था ठीक से. So 1 साल I had to take a break because I was confused what else to do because I have a BTech degree and I do not want to do what a BTech degree will allow me to do. So I took a break. Everyone around me started working. Everyone started going for masters. Some started working at jobs. And that was a little pressurizing for me. But then I shifted to my passion, which was music. And I joined music school in 2020 in Bombay. And the day I was about to shift, just 1 week before that, COVID happened and everything had to shut down. So I had to do music school from home, which wasn't really working well. And so 1 year of that, then I realized I can't do this either. Now I'm growing old, everyone's getting jobs, everyone's starting making full-term girlfriends and starting their marriage life and thinking कि 5 साल बाद शादी कर लेंगे और मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि मुझे life में करना क्या है. So that was very bad for me, but then I started applying for jobs aggressively because that's the only cushion I had to fall back on. So I started applying for jobs in the digital marketing space because I wanted a creative job where I could make content. Content as a whole wasn't a big deal back then. This is 2020. So I did not really know how to channelize the creativity as a job. So I started applying LinkedIn पे एकदम aggressively इधर उधर हर जगह पे. And then I got a job in digital marketing in a startup in Bombay. It was again working from home because of COVID. Then I worked for a year. I started making memes on the side. ऐसे type के थोड़े बहुत memes without my face. And they started clicking. Then I started posting music videos, gaate gaate, guitar bajate and all of that. That also started clicking a little. And then came Reels. And that is when I started making Reels. And I wasn't obviously thinking of it as a career option because content creation wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a career option at all. But somehow it started working. 1 went viral, 2 went viral, 3 went viral. I hit three viral deals, I hit 10K followers, and I quit my job. कि अब तो यही करेंगे. और तब तो 10K was a big deal. This is 4 years ago. तब मतलब बहुत पुरानी भी बात नहीं है. But 10K followers was a big deal back then. And मैंने सोचा कि ठीक है चलो जॉब में पेपर डाल दिए 3 महीने नोटिस पीरियड और फिर हम बनाएंगे कंटेंट. और फिर मैंने थोड़ा सा एक कंट्रोवर्शियल थोड़ा वीडियो बना दिया था जिससे वो वाला वायरल हो गया. बाकी कोई नहीं हो रहे थे और ये हो गया थोड़ा. And then my account got flagged. My followers started decreasing after that one video. No videos were working, nothing was working. And then I was like कि job शायद नहीं छोड़ता तो थोड़ा पैसा आ जाता घर पे. But then I kept going, took a break for 2-3 months. Then I started making content aggressively, started making commentary videos, Gujju Boy videos. All of that started working. And then I got a nice push from 10K to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. And that is when I understood the career side of things of content creation, how it works, how you actually can make it a full-time job, what you have to put in, what you have to put out, what you have to sacrifice, what advantages, disadvantages. And then I was finally settling in the creation space as a career. Then I started writing jokes for myself. Because I make comedy videos. Now, how to write jokes is something which I think is a very personal thing, personal process. How I personally do it is, it's a long process, so to say, because I observe a lot of people. I observe how, for example, my masi talks, or a kaki talks, or a mami talks. And then one day when I'm thinking of making something funny, I will think of all the observational side of things that I had listened to, I had observed. And then I would put it down, and then I would imagine, if I was a Masi, for example, I would wake up, how would I say Jai Shri Krishna? I would say it as a Masi would say. And how would I say Happy New Year? I would again say it as a Masi would say. And then I started doing all of that. And so the process of writing jokes as a whole, it's like, sometimes I wake up at like 1, 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I thought of something very funny. I loved it, I wrote it down, I woke up and then I hated it because it wasn't funny. So it keeps on going. It's a hit and trial. You put in all your thoughts. One day you feel you're being the funniest person on earth. Second day you feel you can't make jokes. You face creative blocks, which are basically days when you can't think of anything. You can't think of good ideas. And that is the major challenge that comes with any kind of content creation, where you just can't be creative. You don't know what to do. Whatever you're thinking does not work. Your videos don't work. Numbers start playing on your mind. All of that keeps happening. It took me a while to get used to the entire process of hit and trial, of knowing what works, what doesn't work. But still, I think I'm still figuring. I haven't mastered it yet. But that is how I basically function with the process. Exactly. So that is the process, which is, what you see is like a 40-second reel, for example. But what goes behind it is hours and hours of one reel ka hard work, which is around 7-8 hours for one video, because You ideate for a few hours, you write for a few hours, you shoot for a few hours, and then you edit for a lot of hours. Because my 40-second video, approximately, every time I edit it, the draft is around 10-12 minutes. And to cut it down to just 40 seconds is a big task. What jokes to keep, which shot to keep, what not to keep, and all of that. So it's not just very ki acha subah utha, video bana diya, paisa kama liya, so gaya. That is not how it works. It's with comedy, with any other space as well, it's a lot of hard work that goes behind one video in short-term content and in long-term content. But it's again, you learn with the time, you learn how the process works for you. What works for you, what doesn't work for you is all. It's been what, 3 years since I've been doing this full time. And now I think I know at least my process. And now, how to go viral on Instagram. That again is a part of a personal experience. But how I have gone viral is consistency. I kept putting videos. Like I said, I got flagged. My videos weren't working. Then the only way I got a push was more videos, more videos, more videos, more videos. With comedy, you can't be funny every day. You can't be like, roz kuch ekdam hi bahut hi hansi aa gayi waisa video bana diya. But what I do is when I have creative days, when I feel the most creative, I write a lot of scripts. And then when I'm facing the creative block, when I'm not able to think of good ideas, I shoot those creative ideas that I thought of. So I think consistency, posting more videos, more and more and more videos on a consistent basis does not mean every day, but it means maybe if you're posting thrice a week, then keep posting thrice a week. Don't let the audience get bored. The algorithm. I think this term everyone would have heard of a lot. If any one of you makes content or has a public profile on Instagram, everyone talks a lot about the algorithm. The algorithm, so to say, is basically nothing but how Instagram specifically pushes your videos to your audiences. If I make a video, it gets served to whatever number of followers I have and a few new audiences. If these guys are sharing it with more people, then Instagram pushes it more. If they are sharing it with even more people, it pushes it more. So how you go viral, how you make most of the algorithm is you serve a broader audience. Like for example, the Gujju boy videos that I make, those are also not in Gujarati. They are in Hindi, but with a Gujju touch. There are a few Gujju terms here and there. So it's not only for the Gujaratis, but everyone who knows a Gujarati. And I think everyone knows a Gujarati because there are a lot of Gujaratis. So everyone in their life, even if they're a non-Gujju, they have a lot of Gujjus in their life. So that was the thought of my character building. And that is how I have made the most of the algorithm. And now the main part is monetization. And how do I and other content creators, how do they make money out of Instagram? Instagram, unfortunately, doesn't directly pay. Like YouTube does, Snapchat does. But Instagram, you have to rely on brands, brand deals, collaborations. That is how you earn. But it is a, touch wood, it is a well-paid industry. If you try to do it full-time, it sometimes, more often than not, it is better than what a job would do. But obviously, doctors mein to aur bhi zyada hoga. But Instagram, for engineers, it's a much better option if you're actually creative, if you're actually funny, if you actually know how to put yourself out there. There's a lot of things you can do. In today's time, it is actually a proper career option. Like people plan to be a content creator, which wasn't the case. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and then make the most of it. Nowadays, it's easy to be popular. It's easy to have like 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K followers. But to make money out of it, to make the most of it is actually a task which you have to have a good team by your side. You have to know how the monetization side of things work. You need to be in good books of the brands. You need to collaborate very aggressively sometimes. It's a mix of everything, but it is now, thankfully, a proper career option, so to say. And the final part is building yourself as a brand. Now, how did I do that? If you've seen my videos, I make videos with the big mouth filter. That wasn't the plan, but that is what started working. And then in the beginning, it was a little like, yaar, fir main aise jaunga to kaun mujhe pehchanega, because I'm always with that filter on my Instagram. But that, on the hindsight, it was actually becoming a brand. कि आत्मन तो वो वाली वीडियो बनाता है, वो बड़ा मुंह करके वीडियो बनाता है, वो वाला. So that is what then I started capitalizing on. I started making more videos. I started developing more characters with the same filter, because if people know me for that, people like me for that, there is a reason. So I started building on that. I built a brand of myself with the big mouth filter, कि Aatman Desai basically बड़ा मुंह बना के videos बनाता है, comedy videos. And so that is what you need to do to stand out. There are a lot of people who actually now make videos with that filter, but I mean, I take it as a compliment because they found something funny in what I was doing. And with whatever content you create, you need to have that part where you're different than everyone else, because there is so much content out there. Everyone is doom scrolling every night. Everyone is on their reels till like 2, 3 a.m. at night. I don't know if you guys are probably studying till 2, 3 a.m. at night, but everyone else. So it's very, very difficult to make sure कि लोग तुम्हारा भी reel ऐसे करके जाने ना दे. And to make sure you stand out, you need to click in the first few seconds. You need to have a brand कि video देख के समझ आ जाए कि ये video तो अच्छा ही होगा, more often than not. So that is about building the brand. And that is pretty much it about content creation. Thank you, guys. Thank you.